Welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. We have got such a treat for you all. I am just so excited tonight. We have been working for a couple weeks behind the scenes, and tonight we're going to just cover all kinds of topics that I get so many emails. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. Where do I start? So we have this all figured out for you because we have Laura. Laura's came to me. Laura is my neighbor. Laura's also been a really good customer for, I don't know, a lot of years. And it's a long street. This is my excuse for both of us. And so one day, Laura had ordered a table, a sew study table, and they couldn't deliver it to a P.O. box. And so I emailed her and I said, I have to have your physical address. And she sends me back her physical address, and it's like 3 houses down the street. And I'm like, this can't be possible. Like literally. So anyway, so now we're neighbors. I mean, we're real neighbors now. And it's been really fun. So Laura came to me a couple weeks ago, and she said, you know what? I don't know where to start. And that was like the same thing so many other people had said to me. So I asked her if she would be willing to kind of go through this thing. It's work for her. Would she be willing to do it? She said she would. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to call this Laura's Journey. We're going to take you on Laura's journey. And between the two of us, we're going to try to remember the best we can everything that we've done over the last couple weeks. And because the goal is for you to go on this journey as well. We're talking tonight about pattern 300, Sharon's blouse. We'll have lots of information. You can ask questions throughout the whole thing. We'll pause with those questions. But I would encourage you to wait to ask questions until we get to a part that, that we're going to. So here we go. This is pattern number 300, Sharon's blouse. This is the PoM for July. What we know about Sharon's blouse is all of our woven bodies are the same body. So that means 300, 600, 575, 625, you could go on and on. Everything below 1,000 that's woven is the same body, same armhole, same shoulder angle, same sleeve. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We're going to mix and match sleeves, talk about plain potatoes with patterns. That's what we're going to do. And look what Laura made. Armhole templates. Yay, Laura. Okay, so this is where we started. Laura, you want to come in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hello, hi Keystone. Oh, we've got some great reports from Keystone as well, you guys. We're gonna have all kinds of fun tonight. All right, so again, I went to Laura's house. I traveled far.
Yes, right across the street.
And went to Laura's house, and she said, I don't know where to start. I said, okay, so we literally went to her closet. And I said, I want you to pick out some of your favorite blouses. So she gave me this one.
Right.
It wasn't her favorite blouse because she said the same thing y'all have said. I'm telling you, she has been the same thing y'all have said on every email, I swear. So this is going to be really fun. She said, well, I don't really have a blouse that fits like I like because I have to buy them too big in the bust because otherwise they won't fit my hips.
Exactly.
So I have to buy everything too big in order to fit my hips. Otherwise, it won't button.
Right, and I like the bust line to fit skimmingly over the body, but not tight. But I like the hips to do the same. And unfortunately, in my case, my hips are 3.5 inches wider than my bust is. So I either have the choice of buying something larger and altering it, or not buying it at all, or wearing it as it is.
Or making it.
Or making it, and that's what started all of this.
Or sewing, and that's what started it. Okay, so we took her blouse. And we measured it, where I've said on the pattern to measure it, which was the fullest part of the bust.
Right.
And this measured
48.
And she knows her numbers now.
Oh, I do. After all of this,
she knows her numbers. Okay, measured 48. But she physically, remember, the problem was, she had a blouse. It was too big. She doesn't want to make a 48 because in sewing, we're going to make it for the bust. And then we're going to make the hips larger. But she only had a 48 blouse. So we measured the 48, then we measured her, and she measured
41.
So we split the difference. And we turned on the back of the pattern, and we went to a size
XL.
44.5. And it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same measuring, you guys. We just changed it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because years ago I had a lady in a booth, and she made up a large No, she made up a medium. And she came to me in the booth and she said, the medium's too small. I said, make the large. She said, no, I'm not a large, I'm a medium. I said, well, it's only a size. If the medium's too small, make the large. She goes, no, I'm not a large, I'm a medium. So I thought, man, I'm just knocking my head against the wall. So I changed all the numbers to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're the same exact sizes.
The psychiatrist over here.
Sometimes the lousy psychiatrist is really what I am.
Yes.
Okay, so we started with a 44.5 bust. We kind of took the middle of the difference. And actually what I did is I put it on her and kind of took away some ease to see if that would be enough. So you have to kind of guess, because in her case she didn't have anything exactly like she liked, which we heard that. Mm-hmm. And so we guesstimated. And we started with a size 4, or the XL in the regular size, not the W size, the regular size, because I measured her arm, and her arm measures less than 15. And so if she measures less than 15 and you're on the cusp, you go down to the regular size, not to the W size.
And that's the only saving grace for me is skinny arms.
Okay, so we are at a size 4. I asked her what cup size she was. She said she was a C cup. And so I said, great, make up the size 4 C cup, put it on, and this is what we get. Okay, this is what we get. And her response was, she calls me and said, okay, I've got it on. I'm ready for you. And do you remember what you said?
Which time?
The first time. Do you remember?
It's terrible.
She said, it's better than I thought it would be.
It's better than I thought. No, seriously. It is
that?
better than I thought it would be, but
it's not what she wants.
Exactly.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to drape this, and we're going to start with L. All right? And the ladies in Keystone came up with a great way to remember L, C, and D. So it's kind of like cleaning. You first clean the lights, and then you clean the counters, and then you clean the dust bunnies on the floor.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, if you start cleaning the dust bunnies, then they'll wipe off the counter. You got to clean the dust bunnies again. So remember, lights, counter, dust bunnies. All right, that's from Keystone. We had a good time.
I had a cleaning lady that day. She didn't find any dust bunnies in the closet, but that's not the only thing she found.
There you go. Okay, so we're going to start with length, and if you look at the bust, the dart, it's just too high. It's just too high. The dart is higher than she wanted it. She didn't want it in that place. So we're just going to take a line, we're going to cut it, and we're going to drop it down. And that's what she did in the tissue, but you know, that's what the alteration looks like. Literally all the way across. All the way across. She then took it back out below the bust because she didn't want the blouse to be longer. You okay? So we're going to put that down. I just wanted you to see the alteration, that the alteration literally is below the armhole, above the dart, and it's the same amount all the way across. Length is equal. And then she took it out below, otherwise the side seams wouldn't have matched. If she wanted the blouse longer, which we gave her an option of, she could have left it and added an inch to the back. She declined to do that. She decided to take the inch away. Okay? All right, so I suggested next the length in the back was okay. No, it was not okay. We put a little length in her short length all the way around. We took it up evenly again all the way around, and it's sewn in with this muslin.
Right. It was an inch take up total.
Now, the reason we did that is because there were some wrinkles in the back, and by taking out length all the way around, it solved those wrinkles. Okay. Circumference, she had picked the size she wanted, so there's no circumference changes. And for right now, unless it's hugely off, you really won't be able to tell if it gives you enough mobility or not. You picked the size is bigger than her, we already knew it was going to be. We did let it out as it went to the hip. She left a 1-inch seam allowance on the instruction page of our website. It'll give you instructions on how to make up a blouse muslin, and it says just leave larger seam allowances on the side and the shoulder seams. You don't have to center front and center back, you don't need to, but those two places. So we left it here, and as we got to the bottom, you can kind of see her green line. The green line is here, is the original, but here we let it out, and we let it out on both sides.
Right.
If you notice, I left her darts in place.
And I really like the darting because for the first time it gives me some shape rather than my box.
Could you repeat that?
I said I really like I really like Peggy's darting because it would not be normal for me. And if you'll notice in the original blouse there were no darts, and so I was a box.
You guys, and that's really, really important because I say that over and over and over when I'm draping ladies because they just don't realize the darts, once a dart is sewn, you can't even see the size of it. So it can be little skinny. but it still gives you that great vertical line, and it's a good look, and it gives you a little bit of shaping. And we all have shaping. I don't care how round you think you are. We have this hollow that's right under our bust, and that dart just picks up on that shaping, so it's a good thing. Okay, so that's circumference, easy enough. All I had to do was give her a little bit at the side seams. That's it, and circumference was okay. And now we're going to deal with depth, and we're going to start at the top. And so with depth, what I did is I picked up the shoulder seam. But actually with this one, I didn't make any changes because I knew we were going to go to the D cup because of the gapping here. When I picked this up and it didn't take care of this gapping, I knew what she needed was a larger dart, and that larger dart would take care of the gapping. So I said, just here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to the D cup. I want you to add the length above the bust. We're moving the dart down and bring it back. And so she did. And so that's this one. All right, Laura, that's your cue.
That's my cue.
Okay. So she's going to be very careful because there's cords going all through this room. And she's going off to the restroom, and she's going to change. So let's answer questions if you have any to this point. Now, the most important thing I want you to recognize is she made the first muslin, she made the second muslin. The reason she made the second muslin was because I felt like it was, because I was going to a D cup, it would just be easier across the board if she just did a clean muslin. Now, she did the front facing, she did the tie, she did all of that. You don't need to do all of that. Just the front and the back. That's all you need. You could cut the front on a fold, or, you know, I mean, just keep it simple. Make it easy. You don't have to do all the fancy stuff. Her muslins are like really, really nice. You don't need to do that. But I do want to go back here just for a second and show you the lengthen line, which is here. This is all just on the pattern already. And then she took out the waist and added it back. Okay? Okay, here's the red line you can see across where she added all the way across. You can see that change is a length change. Anytime you do length, they're parallel. Anything angled is not that. Okay, and then she added at the side seam, and she went to make number 2 muslin. So we're done with this blouse. We've got that. All right. So now we're into a D cup, and you see gap is gone. Look, the gap went away. Why? Because the dart got larger, and it took away the extra fabric. So depth is if I measure from point A to point B, from base of the neck to waist, and then I measure from shoulder to waist, the dart is what takes away the difference between those two. So a lot of times when you guys are talking about a bust and that hangs high and it pulls up high because you say, oh, I need more room in the bust, I need more length. No, you don't need more length in the front. You need to take it away at the side. The front is not wrong. It's the side that isn't being taken enough away. And so a lot of that just gaps right there at the armhole.
And that is where I always made a mistake previously. It never occurred to me that there was the armhole that needed to be corrected, not adding more fabric to the center front, right?
No,
Right.
wait. When there was a gap in this other one, the first thing she said to me was, look, I've got to fix this armhole.
Right.
And I said, no, it's not an armhole problem. It was a dart problem.
Okay, a dart problem.
So that's when she went to the D cup. Fair?
Fair.
And then I also took up the shoulder seam. I did those two things because you can see how nicely that fits now. She lowered the dart so you can see the dart is like below the bulge. It was not wrong where it was before. By all of our rules, it's within the bust circle. It's all of those things. But I don't want it to show. And it won't show if it's just barely below the bulge. You can see it's on the side of her body. It's just non-visual completely. And that's what a dart should be. A dart should be a non-visual entity. Okay, did you readjust the armhole after lowering the dart? No, it didn't go through the armhole. Let's go back. There is an area on your pattern that is marked. Notice it's below the armhole. It's above the bust. It's above the dart. You don't even, that's the beauty of it. It's called the free zone. It didn't even touch the armhole. We haven't touched this armhole. The only thing we did is we went to a D cup. The D cup fixed the armhole gap. And we picked up the shoulder seam. But here what she's going to do is the amount we picked up, she's made her armhole templates. So she's going to take the template and just redraw the armhole right back on. It'll just be a little bit lower.
Right, and these are fun to use too. I mean, they're so accurate. Really, they are. That is a good one.
Okay, what?
Can we tell them why we went to the D cup in addition to this?
You can tell them anything you want. Go ahead.
I
told her she could say anything she wanted.
The only reason we went to the D cup is because Peggy told me to, and me being a doubting Thomas, I went and had a bra fitting.
Oh, you guys, you got to know this. This was funny because I said to her, she said to me originally, I'm
not
a
a
C
D.
cup, and I said, go
cup.
to a D. She goes, I'm not a D. I said, just do me a favor and just go to the D cup. You guys, and she's not the only doubting Thomas, which really makes this awesome because you all do the same thing. You argue with me all the time, and it's like exhausting to get you to just listen to what I'm saying. So I said to her, just do me a favor and do the D cup, and I'll show you. So then she went.
I went to 2 very good department stores here and got fitted in both. Again, being the doubted Thomas, I wanted both ladies to say the same thing.
And then she calls me and says, guess what? She said, I'm a D cup. And I'm like, duh.
Hey, listen, it takes real courage to admit you're an extra large to begin with. But going from a C to a D, I mean, that did it. That did it.
And then we can't tell you the rest of the conversation.
No, we can't.
It was too personal.
No.
Okay, so anyway. So here, okay, sorry.
But I would advise it. I really would advise it. It was well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple really good bra fitters, you guys. And whenever we have Spiffy, we go and do it. I'm telling you, everybody comes back with, oh, look at this. I was in the wrong size. I mean, it's rampant. So, but the Blouse will tell you. The Blouse told her. She just didn't want to listen to Blouse. She wanted to go pay a bunch of money and have it done. Okay.
The fittings are free, though.
Yes, the fittings are free. But you'll fall in love with what they fit and you'll buy the bra. What if you didn't need to take up on the bottom half? Would you have to lengthen the back also? No. No, you can, if you lengthen the top, you can just take it off the bottom. And that balances it out and then you don't touch the back. She didn't touch the back at all. She didn't change the length. She didn't do anything. She added, she took away. She added above the bust. She took away under the bust. It's all straight lines. It's all under the armhole. She didn't touch the armhole. She didn't do any of that. Have we covered what's in your notes? Because she had stuff she wanted to make sure.
Things that I wanted to.
How much did Laura lower the bust?
3/4 of an inch.
3/4 of an inch. I don't know why I feel like I have to interpret for her. She can talk.
I even made it in color for Peggy, the real pertinent things.
There you go. She did. I told you she did all the work.
Oh, good. There's my other pattern. 300.
Well, not quite. Would our changes to pattern 600 be applied to pattern 300? Yes, and we did that. That's why I said, hold on. Because what we did is, she had pattern number 611, and she really liked 611. Okay. So she actually, you guys, she made up the first muslin. She made up the second muslin. You can see it's beautiful on her. And then I said, okay, you're ready for the final blouse, which she was hesitant.
I was very hesitant.
She wanted to make more muslins. I said, no.
No more muslins.
No, just go. Make the final blouse. So the way to get her to make the final blouse is I gave her the fabric. So I gave
her, how could I resist?
Right. I let her pick it out. And this beautiful linen. It's really pretty. It's very pretty. So she made the blouse. And this is her first blouse that she made.
Correct.
All right. That's your cue, unless you wanted to say something else here.
Nope. We got the darts. And that's it.
Okay.
No. She covers my notes better than I do.
Okay. Just be careful. Okay. So this journey was really exciting because I knew, or I felt certain that so many of you were at the same place, or you had been at the same place. All right, so now she made the blouse. You have to get into that first blouse. It's really important because I think we're a little bit afraid of failing. I think we're just hesitant to move forward. You got to get into that first blouse. Even if it's not going to be perfect, you've still got to get into that first blouse. And I know a lot of you have fabric laying around that you don't love and adore, so it could be a wearable muslin. I've heard that expression a lot before, and I think it could definitely be your wearable muslin. Okay, so any questions on what size to pick, how we picked it, where we started, even though it was wrong? It's better to pick and be wrong and keep going. Hi, Peggy. Hi. I use the D cup and still have a gap in the armhole. My cup size is larger than a D cup. Should I increase the size of the dart? Yep, that's it. So when you increase the size of the dart, it gets larger on both legs of the dart. When you do that, the blouse gets shorter. So you add up the amount you made the dart larger by on both sections, and then you just add to the bottom and blend to nothing in the front. Laura, that is just beautiful on you. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so I even let her pick her color. Isn't that pretty? Wow, blousey.
And it's comfortable and it's got darts in it. And the bottom isn't finished yet, and I could.
She's
I
a
have
typical
tendency-
sewer. She tells you all the things that are not done yet.
I know, but it's done. But I got the hidden placket in with no problem. The directions are good, and I got the buttons sewn in, and I sewed the top down.
It's
top
beautiful.
stitching,
I mean, you guys
so
can't
that the
see how
buttons wouldn't show.
her stitching is so pretty. I mean, it's really beautiful. Okay, so again, it's important to just get it made. All right, so now she's wearing the blouse, and she says to me, I have a problem.
Small one, but it rides back after a while. Pulls back.
It pulls back. So it is okay to not see this in the muslin. Remember, every garment you make, I think, gets better and better and better and better. It just does, because you'll get more persnickety. But if you're too persnickety in the beginning, you'll never get started. Is that fair? So now she's on a whirlwind roll. She did make more than one blouse, but we're going to first fix this problem that you have if a blouse pulls back. So, any questions on this? I love this. It's beautiful on her. I mean, it's beautiful. She's just beautiful
Why
color.
do I look crooked?
Why do you look
Why
crooked?
am I looking crooked? Do I lean that far?
She's looking at the monitor.
Oh,
I never
okay.
look at the monitor.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It could just be, I don't know. Don't worry about it.
On the pattern
okay.
now.
Can we see how the lower bust dart looks on the yeah, it's right here. This is the one we keep showing you guys. The dart doesn't change. There's just a tuck that's been, I mean, a little 3/4 of an inch all the way across right there. You can see it goes all the way through, and she's added it. Okay? Okay, did you say you took up the shoulders also? Yes, I took up a little pinch in the shoulder. Just because you always want to check the angle of the shoulder. That's a depth issue. You check the angle of the shoulder, you check the dart, and you check a sway back. Those are your 3 depth issues that are going to happen on this. Okay, can we see the back? Yes, do you mind? Go that way, Laura, just a little bit. Yep. Okay, all right. Okay, so now I'd like you to go put back on that other muslin, the second muslin.
Okay.
The second muslin. Because, see this collar? I want you to notice this. This is your sign. It's kind of, the thing's pulling back on her. And what that says is she doesn't have enough room in the back. That may not be noticeable. Thank you, Sophie.
It wasn't on the...
Yeah, it may not be noticeable in a muslin. And that's why, through wearing it, you're going to trust yourself that it's not you. It's clearly pattern versus body. And if there's a problem, then we're going to fix it. And every time something's pulling back on you, it's simply because the back is convex and you reach for things and it needs more space. And so if it needs more depth, length, whatever it is, then the garment is going to pull back. So we're going to slash the back, but I thought you guys, rather than, doing this ahead of time, we're going to do this so that she can then feel like that's resolved. Okay, the shoulder seams fall forward with movement. Happens with ready to wear 2. What's my problem? Well, now keep in mind, you guys, and the whole reason I really am not qualified to give help on other than silhouette patterns is because I put depth in the back of these patterns. So you don't ever want to do a change until you have the muslin or the proof or the blouse that it's actually causing a problem. Do not speculate that a problem is going to happen. Okay? So now this is her final muslin that before she made the blouse. So what we're going to do, and see, when I put this collar on her, like, believe me, I checked for it. And it doesn't, I don't see it. But that's not the point. The point is, she feels it. I'm going to have you go just like this. Okay. And it's right through the blades. I'm going to have you turn a little bit there. It's right through the blades that you want to do. I'm going to cut. I'm going to go to but not through the armhole over here. And I'm going to go to but not through over here. Okay, once you do that, let that rest. And let the rest of the blouse rest. And then I've got a little piece I'm going to put in. And this is a dart. And so many of you, Laura is only 30. But sometimes as we get over 25, we get a little rounded back. And so there's going to be plenty of you who will need to do this. It's very, very easy to do. And you will like the blouse so much better once it's done. It usually will not be a lot. This is not easy to do on yourself. If you are guessing at how much it is, I'd probably add about 3/4 of an inch. That seems to be a very common number. So even if you're trying to do it on yourself, just measure down about 6 inches and add about about 3/4 of an inch and just taper to nothing. There's no changes made to the armhole. It's very simple to do. And again, if your garment's pulling back, this is what you want to do. The rest of the body will actually fall a little bit cleaner and nicer. And you can see the back just looks beautiful on her. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Is this 3/4 of an inch in the middle of the center back?
It is.
Okay.
Maybe 5/8, but yeah, it's right there. Oops, did I stick you? I'm not allowed to stick her. She said she'd go home if I stuck her. On the back, the vertical fold that is near her armhole, is that also caused by not enough at the back? The vertical fold that's near her, no, that's just that's the seam allowance that's on the sleeve. That won't be there in the final garment. For some of you, if you're fitting yourself and you're not quite sure, you could cut the seam allowances off just so that you can get a better visual as to what you really need to do. Okay, everybody okay with how to do that? Easy enough? And you can see that's closer to her neck now.
It feels better too.
And it will feel better. She said it feels much better. It will feel better. Do we need to have a center back seam when you do this? Others tell us we always need a center back seam. No, you do not need a center back seam. Once you cut that, you're going to have a little part that kind of sticks out. You're going to come from here and to the bottom, and you're just going to draw a straight line again. You can put it right on the fold. The worst case scenario is you'll lose a little circumference over here. You could add it back. She doesn't need it, but you could add it back over here. So yes, you do not need a center back seam. You can still put it on the fold. Okay? Okay, perfect. All right, so now once you make an adjustment on the muslin, you take it apart to make a new pattern piece. Laura did not. Tell them how you did yours. Once she made a change,
I didn't make a whole a new muslin. I just cut my.
She took it back to the pattern.
Right.
Yeah. She took her changes back to the pattern.
Exactly.
You don't have to.
I would do it across the back.
And I told her the same thing I tell you guys. I said, look, you can either use the muslin as your pattern, or you can take the changes to the pattern. And it was her choice. She took the changes to the pattern. It's your choice.
And so I will cut across here and mark whatever Peggy's marked on my
Right. If you're going to do it on the pattern, just measure how far down, how big it is, and then do the exact same thing. All right? Perfect. Okay, now what she did, now she's really pushing the envelope. Because now she wanted to know, Miss Doubting Thomas.
Right. When Peggy has said, not once, but maybe 100 times, but it didn't stick to me, anything woven under number 1,000, it has interchangeable parts. And you can change the bodies and the sleeves, etc. Again, on my next blouse, I could have used my body here, adjusted for, it had a lapel.
So she wants to make 600 is what she's going for. 611, I'm sorry, 611.
611. And so rather than even use my old pattern, I took all of the notes that I had made while I was making this particular muslin, and I made an entirely new body for my next blouse. And
From
sure enough, it matches, with the exception of the back here. It matches this pattern exactly in terms of bust dart, the pinching out, the adding or not adding to the length, and the shoulder pinch out.
And then again, she comes over and she says, "Guess what? You'll never believe it. It actually
works.
It actually works." And I'm like, "Okay, that was a lot of work to get that out of you."
And it takes about half the time that normally I would spend on a pattern.
Okay, so now she was excited. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
She's so excited. So she made up 611. So we want you to see that. And she's going to put that on. So keep in mind that she went through and did the same changes that she'd done to her 300, she did to her 611. And now she's going to do 611. Now, I will say, though, there was one change. She might have forgotten. 611 has a 2-piece sleeve. And so she did make up a muslin for the 2-piece sleeve. We don't have it here. I put it on her. And the most common adjustment you'll have is you're going to make a little dart right in the very front of the sleeve. So here's what the tissue looks like. The sleeve bends forward. That's the front. And the dart you can see, I think you can see, is right there. It tapers to nothing over here. And then to this undersleeve, which again, it bends forward. So the biggest part of the dart is here, and it tapers to nothing back here. So when these two seams sew together, they're still the same length. And when these two seams sew together, they're still the same length, but the sleeve has a greater bend in it. And so it all depends when we stand there, how much our arms bend as we stand. Hers bent a little more than the pattern. So bam, we fixed it, and now she has a 2-piece sleeve. And she can put that 2-piece sleeve in anything. And this was her fabric, her blouse, everything she wanted to make. And voila.
Voila.
Do you love it?
I do.
Isn't that exciting? It's so exciting.
And I learned to use the buttonholer on my machine after 2 years.
All right, and she's got a 2-piece sleeve, which is very pretty also. You want to turn around and show them the back? See, you don't really see that. It's not terrible, but it'll be a little better now because it'll be up a little bit. So that little bit will just give her what she needs, and it also won't cause it to pull back. And those things are really important, I think, when you're wearing a blouse. Mm-hmm. It's important to feel like you don't even have a blouse on. Okay, Laura.
Okay.
All right, anything else you want to say, or anything else you guys want to ask Laura? And I won't filter her.
As if you could.
But did y'all hear that? As if I could. Look at these, you guys.
These are good playthings. I'm not telling. I mean, it's so absolutely, it's amazing, and being able to pivot them and
so
everything.
So this is her blouse armhole, front and back is what she did.
And I want you to notice that I have even written the French curve numbers on there, so you can ask me what armhole I want. And it will be there. There
guys, during this process, I kept saying, "Okay, so what armhole size do you want?" And she'd look at me like, "I'm telling you, this whole situation was exactly what I go through in workshops. So I know so many of you. So when she agreed to do this, I'm telling you, I hope you all love this because she's done a lot of work.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was
she's made 2 muslins.
Two muslins, and the adjustments, of course, to the pattern to begin with, the 2 muslins.
But now she's got it.
I've got it.
Now she's got it, and with that one last final, and you know what? She might knock on my door tomorrow when she's made her next blouse, or when she's next week, and she might say, "Okay, well now I don't like this." There might be other things, but I'm going to tell you, you'll just know what they are, and you'll make them slowly, and you'll keep going, and you'll advance, and it's amazing.
Oh, one other thing that I had always done is if I wanted a sleeve circumference, and I know that my long sleeve circumference, I like 12 inches, I always fold it out.
Did you hear that, you guys? When it stops, she likes her sleeve circumference to be 12. She knew that. Isn't it helpful to know the numbers? That's the Brett chart. And get the Brett chart and make those notes on there.
Believe it or not, I have started filling it in. It is very, very helpful. I didn't know it was under the features column.
She's actually telling Brett. Brett's behind me. Okay.
And so anyway, Peggy said, "Well, why didn't you just cut it off and taper in the 2 sides?"
So look what she did, you guys. She took this big, massive fold in the middle. So my question just was, why didn't you just cut it off? And she said,
because I felt if I was not thinking about narrowing in the sides as I cut it. And I would have, instead of a 14-inch sleeve, which is on this, I would probably end up, if it were cut here, I don't know, 16 inches hanging around here, and I'd be back to a box.
So it was just a matter of, if you cut it off and know what you want, you can just narrow in the sides the same amount.
Right.
I didn't know if that'd be easier for her. There's not a right and a wrong. It's just as long as you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, it doesn't matter how you do it.
And the only thing you'd have to change would be the placement of the button, which I didn't put on the other blouse. I haven't done that yet, nor have I, put everything, finished everything.
Okay, how do you feel?
Good.
Do you think we
got this? Is fun.
What kind of paper did Laura draw her patterns on?
Oh, I used either tissue paper, which I got down as an end cut to newspaper that's on a huge roll, or I used that Swedish drawing paper if I'm pretty sure of the adjustments that I've made. So I go from tissue to Swedish paper because you can actually put this on. They say you could give it one washing. I wouldn't, try to do that. But this is my second. This is my secondary place to go. And you can get it on sale.
I
at
would
several
not have
places.
draped Swedish tracing paper.
No,
on her.
I
It
knew
wasn't
I
going
knew
to happen.
better. I knew better than to bring Swedish paper over.
All right. So the templates were drawn before the shoulder pinch. No. The templates were drawn before the shoulder pinch. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, they were. Yes.
Okay.
Because remember, we want to restore the armhole back to what it was.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Sorry. We have to have a conference here to remember. Don't forget your notes.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for Laura? Do you want to stay or you?
Yeah,
welcome?
I'd like to stay and watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. We're gonna let her sit down so she can relax. Okay. And then if you guys need something else, we can bring her back on. Because what I want to do is give you now some variations of the different of pattern 300 so that you can make it differently. Does that sound good? Okay. So now that you know about these templates, and what? They're loving it. Okay, good, Laura. I know. We have to say thank you to Laura.
Oh, anytime.
Because you guys, I'm telling you, when we started this conversation, it was like, all right, how many emails have I gotten with this exact same thing? I don't know where to start. I don't know. It was just amazing. So I really do appreciate because
anytime.
She definitely, and she had a schedule where she had to have it done because I was traveling out of town. So she had to have this one done by this time and this one done by this time, and then, you know, she had to get the blouse made by tonight, and she got 2 made by tonight. Here I'm wondering, make sure she got it done, and she whips out. She comes in with 2. So yes, thank you, Laura. All right, so now that you understand templates, we're going to switch things around. The blouse I have on is pattern 300. There's different views, and what I did is just made it out of a knit now. So I took the center front, went all the way to the fold. Because it's a knit, I scaled down the size. And I always say I go down a size, but don't go down a size because everybody takes me literally. And then somebody emailed and said one size was too small. And now what should I do? Just lessen the circumference. Okay. However you do that, just, you know, wrap the knit around you, figure that out, just like we do in knits. So I made the circumference smaller. And then I used my knit armhole and my knit sleeve. And that's it. That's all I did. You don't need darts because you went down smaller. So, you know, and I didn't want it tight. I just wanted a little bit of negative ease, and I love it. It's comfortable. Brett came over before the webcast, before Laura came over, and we took a walk around the block. It's beautiful weather outside. And, you know, I mean, it was just easy and fun and cool. So, this is a Ralph Lauren. The fabric is, so if you notice, I strategically placed that logo in a couple places. Can't remember now where it is and I can't see. But there's a Ralph Lauren here. Anyway, just a few places is where I placed the Ralph Lauren logo, and then once in the back. And there is an up and down to the Ralph Lauren logo. So if you're doing the fabric, make sure it's at least right side up. You don't want to put his name upside down. All right, so easy to do. I just decreased the size. I used my armhole, my knit armhole, my knit sleeve. Bam, that was it. All right, then I want to show you this one. This is actually a sheer. I love this blouse. This is not something I've made recently, but I love it and love it. And the reason I pulled it out is because it's the same as the blouse I have on, just with this style of fabric. I didn't want to tie the tie. This is a little more softer and feminine. You notice it's got a shawl collar. I did tie the tie, but what I did on this one is I used pattern number 900, which is the jean jacket, and I used the sleeve. So I got a tailored blouse, you know, the whole tailored cuff and the sleeve out of it. I didn't have to change the armhole because remember, all those sleeves fit all those armholes. All those armholes are all the same. My mother told me, make sure all your armholes and sleeves are interchangeable. And I did. I listened to my mother. All right, so if you want a blouse that's a little more tailored, then you can put on, we've got every sleeve. We've got a French cuff, which is $425, $611 has a 2-piece sleeve, 900 has a placket and a cuff. So we've got all the different sleeves that you could possibly want. It's just a matter of which pattern they're in. All right? Okay. Then what I did is I did a little version of the ruffle. I'm going to bring that over and show you. Okay, which is this one right here. I had seen this in a store, and I just really, really liked it. It's very easy to do, and so I'll show you how I did it. Again, I did a knit body. And what you're seeing a lot in retail right now is you're seeing two different fabrics being used together. So it's really easy to do. You're just going to pick up a print and then pick up a solid of one of those colors. I think I could have used white. I think there's a lot of colors I could have used. But you can see I used a solid back and then I used the print front. And you know, the biggest decisions are, gosh, should I do the sleeves to match or do I do the sleeves in pink, or, you know, and I don't think there's any wrong decisions. I think it's whatever one you like, and I decided to go pink on everything except for the front. So I had to have a yard of the front, this, and I had to have a yard of the pink, and the yards did it. 1 yard of each did it. All right, with this collar, literally I didn't do anything different. And it even says cut 2. This is what the collar looks like. Cut 2. So what I did is I placed this up here, and you can see in here, you won't see it, is where I joined the two pieces together. So this is the part that normally it comes around, it goes all the way around. I started the shoulder, and when it ran out, I added the next collar on, and so the whole thing just falls down the front. So what I did when I was sewing it is I stitched here to keep it in place, and then I stitched like just right on the edge, like 1/8 of an inch till I got here. And then you're going to stitch right down the center front. I marked where the center front was, and I stitched right down the center front until it ended. And you could end it, when I first only did one piece, the first piece ends there, and at first I thought I was going to end it there. And then I thought, well, I'm going to add the other piece on and just see if I like it. And I did like it. And the reason I liked it is it gave such a long vertical look. So I really liked both of them rather than just the one. And all it is just stitched right on center front. And you can see the stitching, it's visual, but you can't see it because the ruffle falls right over it. So then what I did is I just serged the whole thing all the way around, tucked it under, and top stitched. So nothing fancy, very easy to do. I did serge this after I stitched it in place, and then top stitched it. You can't top stitch it very far out because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you'll run into problems. I had to stay fairly close to the edge there. Okay, very easy to do. And again, I used my knit sleeve and my knit armhole. For the knit top, could you just use 195 and transfer the neckline shaping from 300? Yeah, sure. Sure, you'd have to do both the front and the back, transfer the neckline onto 195, and then use the ruffle. Yeah, you could do it that way. Whatever, I always say whatever way works for you guys. Whatever makes it easier for you. All right? So do you like the ceiling and the counters? No, the lights, the ceilings, and the dust bunnies. Do you like that? Oh, and also I was told to tell you that if you went to buy a car and you liked everything except for the seat belts, you wouldn't want a new car. You just have the seat belts changed. That was the analogy we came up with a full bust adjustment. A full bust adjustment changes L, C, and D all at the same time, and you don't want that. You just want to change one thing at a time. You want control over which thing you change. So I decided after all that discussion that we had was I don't even want to go with full bust adjustment. You guys, I want you to know that anytime we're looking to change patterns, we want to understand the pattern and change it the way it was created, not to have an alteration. Full bust adjustment doesn't exist in the ready-to-wear world because we understand patterns and that's how you change them. And so my goal is to get you to understand patterns more so that you understand how to change them more. Alteration methods never work consistently. They just don't. Okay? All right, on the muslin I see darts on the back. Are the darts sewn in the back of the blouses? Yes. Yes. She got her arm twisted with that one. What do you do with the darts when you lengthen the pattern? They appear to come together at the bottom. Yeah, that's okay.
If you lengthen the pattern, they stay the same.
They can go to the bottom or they can not go to the bottom. It doesn't make any difference. The darts can stop internally or they can go through the bottom. I always take them to the bottom because I think they look better. I think they look more slimming. So I actually, if I have to, like on Laura, we added to the side seam to get the darts to go to the bottom because they are a better look. Okay, but that's a choice. The darts are. Did you use a 7-inch sleeve?
7-inch short length or width or what?
We don't know what that is. 3 lines here, no one knows. Try again. What if you have a yoke with gathers under it? How do you add back length then? Generally, you make it right through that line. You still do it right above the line. Don't even touch the gathers. The gathers don't change anything. A yoke line doesn't change anything. You still need more length. You can still make a slash with a yoke. The yoke won't affect anything. Is the ruffle pick in pattern 300? Is the ruffle piece in pattern 300? Yes, the 300 has 3 different versions. One is the ruffle, one is the tie, and one is the shorter tie. Or Laura made a shorter tie, I think. Those 3 different versions are in the pattern. All the same neckline. It's also got a hidden placket. Laura did the hidden placket on her linen one, which was beautiful. Her stitching was really, really pretty. I didn't do them on, I did them on this one. I take that back. This one's got a hidden placket. But the 2 t-shirts, I just put center front on the fold. How much would you say the fabric type, the linen, could make? How much would you say the fabric type, that linen, could make with?
Is it the linen's fault, in other words?
Oh, is it the linen's fault? Yeah, it could be. It could be the linen's fault. But even if it's the linen's fault, she's better off to have that, and it won't be too much on other fabrics. That's a very good question, by the way. It's a really good question. In fact, that's why a lot of times we drape with muslin, because muslin is stiff and it shows problems that like a beautiful silk would not show. So it's good, and that's possibly why when we made the second, I shouldn't tell anybody this, the second muslin is a cashmere. Laura said, "Ooh, this is just beautiful muslin." Okay, but that's possibly why she's gonna, after she does all of this is over with, it's her new pajamas. But it's possibly why we did not see it, because it's just so soft. And then once she made it in the more structured linen, she felt it. But again, don't let that kind of stuff stop you, because again, she could wear that blouse, and even though she knows it's pulling back and it might be a little uncomfortable, it's beautiful on her, she likes it, and just know that now she's going to improve it and make it better. Okay? What is the length of the sleeve on the pink top? I need 2 tools. I need a tape measure, 14.5 inches. I need my tape measure and my glasses. Did you say you took length from both the front and the back when you saw wrinkles in the back? On Laura, yes. Because when I saw wrinkles in the back, what I knew is the waist was too low for her. So that became a length issue, and I took it up all the way around. Yes. Okay, it was not a sway back. Sometimes there's wrinkles in the back, and it's a sway back, but they're different kind of wrinkles. So if you're not sure, take it up all the way around and see if that works. If that doesn't work, take it up only in the back and taper to nothing at the sides. You've only got 2 choices. So it can't take you, a year to figure it out. You've only got 2 choices. All right, how do you move the point of the dart back? Just move it back. Move it back and start from that point and restitch. What was the rest of that? I didn't get the rest of that. How do you adjust the dart legs for the shorter dart? Just back it off and redraw to the same points. Okay? I made the 300 and the shoulders ride forward. Do I take length out of the back shoulder? Wow. I have never seen that pattern ride forward. So I would say yes, but I've never seen that, but I guess, ride doesn't make sense to just try it. It doesn't make sense that it would come forward, because your back is what's moving and it's what pulls it to the back. If it rides forward, I would check the shoulder. I would think that the shoulder angle's probably wrong. That would be my guess, rather than trying to go to the back. It's probably something to do with the shoulder. Did Laura use fusible lining on the final blue linen blouse? She did not. Laura, we forgot to tell them. Laura when I first gave her the linen, do you remember what you said?
Am I going to have to underline this?
Am I going to have to underline this? So no, you know what she did? She washed it in
Coke. Real Coke.
She washed it in Coke. Real Coke. You can tell we've had these discussions. How many times did you wash it?
4.
4 times she washed it because she really wanted it soft and she loves it. I mean, now it's like amazing. It's really nice. So it's all ready to go, and it's really pretty linen. It really drapes pretty. It's very nice. 4 times she washed it in Coca-Cola. After adding the 3/4 inch to the free zone in front, did she also add it to the back? No, you guys. We said she took it out underneath. She added it above the dart. She took it out below the dart because she did not want the blouse to be any longer. Once you guys rewatch this, we'll answer all those questions. But I know if some of you are just coming in, you didn't see those questions. But no, she added it above the dart, took it out below the dart. So that those two nullified each other, but it just moved the whole dart down. The whole entire dart got moved down. And I would recommend that rather than redrawing the dart and doing all of that. You mess up the dart legs and the angle and all that. It's much easier to just make a slash, drop it down. Much easier. Are we good? All right, we're going to go get drunk. So we've had a hard day at the office.
Yeah, we did. But it was a fun day.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's been great. And I can't say thanks to Laura enough because, you know, I knew in this process she would help so many of you because it was really connecting what I'd been saying to what she was hearing. And I knew so many of you had to be the Lauras. So I really appreciate what she did for all of you. For me, for all of you, I really appreciate what she did. And then she said to me, well, can we do a jacket now? I said, no, I need a couple months to recoup. No, but anyway.
But I got to meet Brett.
That's right. That's right. Brett doesn't live here, so she hasn't met
I
Brett.
haven't met him.
She hasn't met Brett before, but she knows. She said to him, I feel like I know you. Anyway, so let me say thank you. I do want to say one thing, you guys. 2 things. Our PBS, you guys, some of you have made phone calls. Thank you. Keep doing that. Please call your local PBS station. Just say you want Fit to Stitch. You want Fit to Stitch. Starting Saturday until August 1st for these 2 weeks, they have over 500 programs, but APT is putting up programs that they can choose from. And they choose locally what they think their viewers want to hear. And my programmer here in Dallas said to me that sometimes one phone call makes all the difference. So thank you all for those of you who have done, because you've sent me letters and you've sent me emails. Email them, call them, I don't care. Probably email's even better. But anyway, thank you all for doing that because it really helps us. We're really excited about this new venture. And then also our website, yay, after much work behind the scenes, is we're going live on Wednesday. And I'll put this in the email tomorrow, but between Wednesday, there's a couple hours on Wednesday afternoon where the site's going to be down. We've got engineers kind of going through everything, making sure everything's okay. And it'll be a period of about a month, but this first part is happening Wednesday. It's complicated because the website is so large that it takes quite a bit of doing. But we're on the roll, and we're going to have a new site.
They won't see it.
Yeah, you're right. You guys won't see. It'll function differently. Yeah, you won't know. But anyway, just so you know, we're really excited behind the scenes. But anyway, happy sewing, you guys. Thanks, all of us behind the scenes at Silhouette Patterns. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.